What's up, everybody? Can you hear me? In the comments, I know it lags behind a little bit. Can you hear me? Looks like it's all right. What's up, everybody? That marks the spot. We live, we hot. Does Andy from Deptford still call? Mike not put him on the air, as he put him back on the air. Andy used to try to get on here, and I just couldn't. I like Andy. Let's see if we can lock this down with a nice fee, which is difficult to do. So I am, man, I'm like really fiending tonight. And we have a lot to talk about. I promise not to beat the Sirianni Hurts thing to death. Really, I want to beat Eagles fans to death that are whining about, it was last year. Man, don't talk about it. Move forward. But more about that in a second. And you know, I'm not on WIP for 4 hours, so I don't have to beat the hell out of the topic for the whole time. I won't. We have a lot to talk about. USA basketball. Man, did not look good for a while. I know my buddy Maniac Malloy from Bet Parks, I think he live bet USA when they were down double digits and got a nice number on it. But we'll talk about that. What else do we have here? Anyway, Phillies on the West Coast swing, making people feel a lot better. But like I said, I'm feeding tonight. I don't know what it is. It's almost like I've never been a big drug guy, but I'm fiending, man. Like I'm fiending for a cigarette. Like a big menthol, Marlboro menthol, just like, let me light that sucker up. And mind you, I haven't smoked a cigarette in 20, almost 25 years. So I'm drinking this C4, and I have my fake living room, so it's hard to see. I just picked up on these. I've seen them kind of before, but then at CVS, I get the extra bucks rewards, and a lot of times they're just like, here's $5, and I'm like, all right, so you can get these for like 2 for $5, or they're like $3 a piece. So it's C4 Performance Energy, and this one's a Starburst, and it tastes really good, and it's only 10 calories and no carbs, which is why I like it, because of the diabetes. But it gives me, like, one time before I was trying to work out, I did this like I had somebody telling me to like yeah, you take this supplement before you work out and like give you all this energy and this pump and blah, blah. I'm like, all right, cool. So I took it, and I took it like what it recommended on the thing, on the jar. Is it still playing? Jeez. And bro, like I felt like I was coming out of my skin, and I went from ready to do a workout to laying down on the couch. And mind you, this was when I was working at WIP. And I was trying to do a workout and then go into work. And now I'm laying on the couch trying not to throw up. And boom, throwing up because I took that. And then a lot of people were like, you're supposed to take like half of it until your body gets used to it. So I'm never doing that anymore. But this makes me kind of feel like a little bit of that hot skin itch, which probably isn't good. This has a lot of niacin and vitamin B12 in it. So maybe that's it. So, I'm probably killing me. But so like I'm drinking this, and then I'm like, you know what? That's just not gonna do it. So I grabbed one of these Cutwater Long Island iced teas. Of course you can't see it. I'll try to do it. All right. But anyway, it's 13% alcohol. I just need something, man. I do. And I'm obviously not gonna smoke a cigarette. So I need something. There it is. My kids are killing me recently. My 3-year-old is absolutely terrorizing me. Refusing to get buckled in the car, refusing to get in her booster seat for lunch today, like literally fighting me to the death. Trying not to get put in. And then the bath tonight doing the same thing. So yeah, it's been a long day. But isn't that what I wanted? More family time, right? So strong. Anyway, a lot of this is kind of, I didn't do the show on Monday. Delco Steve is still in Portugal. He's been, he's actually in Italy, I think now. He's been posting on his Instagram stories pictures, and they're awesome. It's always the people that go to Europe and go to Italy, and they post the pictures on the cliffs with the water and the beach and the boat and everything else. And he's been posting all the pictures. So there's hope for me that one day I can post on Instagram too, from Greece or from Italy. That's where I want to go. He'll be back next week. I forget what he's coming back in. I think he left before last Thursday, and he was spending 10 days. So he probably won't be back for another week, at least to this show. Herb actually called me. Haven't talked to him in a while. Herb called me at 8:19. Now I was busy trying to get the children to sleep, so I could do this. Let's message him back. Hey Herb, what's up, buddy? A lot of times he'll just call me right back. What's up, buddy? He must be working tonight, so he's bored. But we'll see. Because otherwise, he's probably not awake, or he's not calling me to see what's going on. We'll see if he texts me back. But so it's just going to be me solo tonight, which means when you leave the comment, if I like it, well, then I like it. Mark's in the morning. I would love to work in the morning. We'll have to see. Nick Hale joining the program tonight. Nick, how are you, buddy? Nick now a morning show host on 1210 WPHT. Doing killer stuff there. Great ratings for Nick. A great time to be doing political talk with everything that's going on in the election. Of course, formerly a big sports guy, Nick Cale, but he's too smart for that for us now. So he's doing politics. What's up, Nick? Just be careful that you're even commenting on here. I still may be toxic at Odyssey. They might fire you for even talking to me. What's up, Nick? What else we got here? Delco Steve did not propose. I don't believe. Do not believe it. And yeah, and as far as me in the morning, well, what rumors are you hearing out there of me in the morning? So anyway, well let's get into the 76er, the Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts stuff. Really no surprise. I don't know if anybody was surprised at the story that came out. It was just the first story or the first journalist that came out and actually said, this is what happened last year with the Eagles. And if you listen to me on WIP, or more likely you probably heard me on here, because it was after the season was over. I had said this when they started their slide last year. This is the one thing I was repeating over and over and over again, which was, this is not about X's and O's. This is about something totally broken in the locker room. And not that it wasn't about X's and O's, because that's probably a big part of what got it there. And anybody that was watching the Eagles at the end of the season saw how pathetic the offense was, and the lack of motion, and and then Jalen's playing hero ball, and Jalen's trying to do everything. It was just really, really bad. So we didn't know if it was AJ. We didn't know. But I knew something was broken. And the relationship between Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts, according to Tim McManus of ESPN, is fractured, or was fractured. So let me start off by saying this, because first of all, I know Tim very well. Tim and I were both young producers at The Fanatic some 20 years ago. And Tim is as hardworking and trustworthy. And I'm not telling you that I love Elliott. And I think Elliott's piece that he did on Deshaun Jackson, he didn't make that up. You know what I mean? But when I look at Elliott as being a personality. An Eagles personality. He's the reporter. He's the insider for WIP or whatever. But I look at Elliott as being a really, really awesome Eagles personality that can do it on a lot of different ways. Tim McManus is a legit reporter. And he obviously has TV duties at ESPN, but he's a legit reporter. And I understand, because I'm I'm among the first people that will always point to one of the insiders just putting out bullshit. So I always point to this, and maybe I'm weird for doing it, but Diana Rossini, when she worked for ESPN and A.J. Brown was on the trade market for the Falcons, she put out a tweet that said, first round draft pick on the table for A.J. Brown. And it was obvious at the time, and that's why I remembered, it was obvious at the time what that was. The Falcons gave the information to her, and she put it out there without vetting, because there was no first round draft pick on the table for A.J. Brown. That didn't exist. That's the way the Falcons put it out there. Then teams are like, "Oh, a first-round draft pick. Let's check in and see if I can't give more." Right? Like it was a futile attempt to try to maybe stir the pot or drive the market. Now, I don't know the details of what happened in that, but I know what I would have done if I was a reporter, which was I would have said, "Oh, okay, you're telling me that there's a first-round draft pick on the table from what team?" We don't want to tell you what team. Okay, all right. I'm going to AJ Brown's agent and saying, "Hey, do you know anything about a proposed first-round draft pick?" Because the agent's going to know. And of course, the agent wouldn't say that. But then you're trying to figure out, and that's why you have sources around the league. Diana Rossini talks to a lot of people. That's where you need people you can trust. And you send a text message and say, "Hey, you think this is bullshit?" I guess what I'm saying is that she just put that fucking thing out there. It was bullshit, and you could read right through it. And a lot of these insiders do that. Flat out. A lot of these insiders do it. Adam Schefter's throwing just general nonsense against the wall. He's no reporter anymore, right? So that's not Tim McManus. Tim McManus had worked on this story for a long time. If you go back and you read, and I was reading it earlier today, because if you remember when A.J. Brown, before, it was after the Giants game, it was definitely before the playoff game, Tim reported in a team meeting that A.J. Brown got up and said, "Hey, listen, we need to trust our coaches." I don't know if it was a players meeting or it was the before game, but he said, "We have to trust our coaches." Tim reported it at the time, and that was the first alarm bell to me to be like, all right, AJ's saying that for a reason. And it's obvious that he came out and he was trying, either as a veteran or because maybe Jalen was rubbing him the wrong way, but he came out, according to Tim McManus, and was trying to get the team together. And it obviously didn't work. But if you read the piece from Tim and you went through all the different details, and again, we're not going to beat this story to death, but if you went through it, it all makes sense. I'll put a lot of it on Nick Sirianni, which I didn't know a lot of this stuff before. And I'll put a lot of this on Jalen Hurts as well, as Herb is calling me right now. Do I take the call? I'm going to call him back in a second, all right? So, I got to decline it. So, like, none of this should be a surprise. It was a matter of what actually was happening. Do you remember when Howard Eskin reported that he used Fletcher's name? He said Fletcher Cox was not happy with Jalen Hurts' behavior on the sidelines and how he was, I guess, leading. And I had heard that some of the veterans, like Fletcher, felt that way about Jalen. It's pretty clear they became a divide in the locker room. Brian Johnson and Jalen Hurts on one side, probably some offensive players on another side. And then the veterans that realized, hey, you'll never win like this. That may think Nick Sirianni's an idiot, but they realized they were in the middle of a season or whatever. So, like, by the way, like, Jalen can learn from this. I don't think Jalen's a bad guy. I'm kind of worried about the stubbornness and the fact that he's already trying to take over, but I'm not, Nick Sirianni isn't known for his offense. He wasn't hired because he's an offensive guru. So would it surprise me if a lot of the offensive players are being like, "What the fuck is this guy doing? Like, what is this?" The offense looked terrible last year. And it wasn't Brian Johnson. It was, the story at least was being sold that Nick Sirianni was often overruling him. It wasn't Brian Johnson getting the offense like Shane Steichen had the offense, which isn't a surprise either. So here's what I'm saying. If you're of the mind, and I've seen a lot of this on social media in the comments of being angry that this is being brought up, or it's bullshit, or it's Philly media being negative, and blah, 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 WIP, all the reporters, like, that was last year, move forward. It's Tim's job to report on the team, to paint a picture of what was going on. In particular, maybe in the city's sports history, it's the biggest collapse in modern sports history. They were favorites to go to the Super Bowl 10-1, and they totally collapsed, and they got blown out by the Buccaneers in the first round of the playoffs. So it's his job to say, what the hell happened? Whether or not you want to read it, that's your prerogative. But you sound silly to act like that this isn't actually a story and that we should just be positive and everything else. You can be positive all you want. It's his job to do that. So that's A. B, if you don't think that this could be a big deal this year, then you're even a bigger idiot than thinking this isn't legitimate news. Could it end up being okay? Yes, it could. This may not be this may not end up being the downfall of the organization and Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts. Kellen Moore comes in, it's his offense. Nick Sirianni's not gonna have the input, obviously, with Kellen Moore. I think that was understood when they hired him. So now Nick and Jalen try to repair their relationship, but like they're still the head coach and the quarterback. So the last paragraph of the article, I don't have it up in front of me, but it said, "Do I think that Nick and Jalen are going to be going to dinner together? Hell no." And it said, "But they can they, they can have a good working relationship or whatever." Sorry, that's problematic. Sorry. Like, my response to that is, "Oh, well, good luck." You're ending the piece by saying someone on the inside saying, like, yeah, they're not going to be going to dinner together, but yeah, they can be okay. They can have a working relationship. Yeah, I mean, that could end up happening, but let's not act like that this doesn't have the potential to screw the season. I'm not talking about the team winning 5 games or 7 games or 8 games, but if the coach and the quarterback don't have good chemistry and there's a problem, and Nick's going to have to back off, and I think that he's already come out and addressed it, I'm still predicting a good year for the Eagles and a great year for Jalen Hurts. So I think this story we won't end up talking about this at the end of the season. But it doesn't mean that Nick Sirianni's job's safe at all. And you just wonder why they didn't move on from him. Now, it's probably because he took him to the Super Bowl the previous year. He was fighting for his job. He wasn't like Doug, where he said, yeah, Matt Burke and Press Taylor is going to be my offensive coordinator. They're like, no. And also probably because Jalen shares some of the blame here. That Jalen, and maybe some immaturity and some stubbornness, shares some or a lot of the blame here. On the field stuff, yeah, I can understand him being frustrated. It really all makes sense. The annoyed look that he has over on the sideline, not talking to teammates. So don't think that there weren't cliques in the Eagles locker room last year. There were. That's pretty clear. There were cliques on the offensive side of the ball. There were cliques of guys that were probably like, what is his problem? Why is he acting like this? Why is Jalen why is he not talking to anybody? And then obviously, because it's been on the record, defensive players, defensive veterans that did not appreciate the way that he was carrying himself. And it may not be a big deal at all, but it brings me back to, and then we're going to wrap this up. It brings me back to when Joe Santoliquito wrote the article on Carson Wentz, the hit piece at the time, as many people said. And Joe Santoliquito got death threats. Not only did he get death threats, he had somebody, I guess if you Google Joe's name, you could find out where he lived. Well, like, people came to his apartment and were banging on the door and stuff like that. Right? And you know what? He was right. Remember how he was the bastard for a year or two. It was, oh, he's lying. Like, it was all nonsense. It was all made up. And I knew it wasn't all made up because being on the inside a little bit, you have more of an idea what's going on. So Joe got, he got death threats, and people came to where he lived, and he ended up being right. He ended up being like, and I remember everybody, he's a liar, scum Philadelphia media, be positive. He's like, no. Carson Wentz was becoming a problem in the Eagles locker room. Last year, there was a problem in the Eagles locker room. So everybody that wants to say it's bullshit or stop being negative, that was last year, this is this year, then you focus on this year. It's Tim's job to figure out what happened last year. And if there's anybody on the beat, and there's a lot of great reporters on the beat, but I can tell you that Tim McManus is as trustworthy and reputable as anybody, more than anybody on the beat. And there's a lot of good guys. Les, Jeff McClain, all those guys. I trust all those guys. So anyway, that's that. That's that. That's the Eagles conversation. It could end up being a big deal. And I think you're silly. Wow, that's been up there for a while. Sorry. I think you're silly to think that it couldn't be a big deal. Because guess what? It was a big deal last year. It totally torpedoed the team. That was clear. So should we call Herb back? Let me see here. Should we call Herb back? Let's try him right here, right? He's probably, we don't want to FaceTime him. All right, I need to get rid of that. Well, how do I call then? When he calls. I just need him to call back. All right, so let me try this. I don't need the video FaceTime. I just need the Herb just on the phone. Can you everybody hear that? Where is he? No, we're not using the air.
Johnny Moore.
Herb, you're on the air. You're on the air, man. What's up, dude?
I'm on the air.
Yeah, you're on my you're on my YouTube show. What are you doing?
Okay. I just got back from Spring City. I've been doing today since 3 o'clock. They need me to pick up people. I'm in Burlington, New Jersey right now. I keep this is my third drive around taking passengers, and I got to go to Horsham with this last load, but there's 2 people. I got to take them. They ain't going to get here till 11:30.
Oh, so you got to wait.
I'm probably take a nap. I got to sit and wait. Yeah, I'm getting paid, though. You know.
Well, I know that's good. That's good, Herb. I told the audience you were likely working because otherwise you'd be sleeping, right?
Yeah, I was on the air today, but
you
for
were
a little while with Spike. I ran into Gary Cobb.
Yeah, I saw you texted me that you saw G Cobb. What was he doing?
Yeah, I saw Gary Cobb like about 10 days ago down at Novacare.
Did he say out of here like Vladimir? That's what he would say when he would throw it off the air. He'd say, "G Cobb, out of here like Vladimir." Yeah, love G Cobb.
I used to work for a guy named Vladimir.
Really?
So you know,
I used to drink Vladimir. It was in a plastic jug. Wasn't
right.
very good. Yeah. So what's up? What are you doing? So have you been busy?
Why don't you get up with Gary Cobb with Fox? You know what I mean?
G Cobb? I'm not much of a TV guy, Herb. I would like to. I mean, they'd be smart if they hired me to do some of their pre or post game for their games, but you know they're not all that smart. Listen, I at one time I wasn't an employee, but I was paid by Fox 29 for doing stuff on Good Day on the weekends. But yeah, that's a hell of a drive to get into the city. I actually hope that I'm going to start doing some stuff on Good Day, Philadelphia, once my schedule changes a little bit. I may be in the area down towards that.
What did you get? What's been going on? Did you get a job or what?
Oh, DoorDash, man. I'm raking in the money.
Oh,
the
you're
money.
doing that?
No, I'm just kidding.
You're doing DoorDash.
I'm just kidding. No, I'm working at the at the casino once a week on Wednesdays. I'm doing a show, and then I have something else that's coming. If these people would just get their act together and send me the contract that I need to review. But yes, it's something I'm hoping is going to be starting the 26th of August. So, couple weeks.
I was in Mississippi. I was in Mississippi on the casino junket. $60.
What'd you do?
I was ahead 600, and I wound up blowing it all. I lost 1,000.
Slots?
Slots, yeah, stupid, man. Stupid.
Now, did you happen to meet any ladies when you were down there?
Yes and no, you know what I mean. But
you didn't get lucky.
I was gambling most of the time, you know.
Now, are there ladies of the night?
They were so hot. I was at there's a lot of ladies at the pool and stuff. There's a lot of, you know.
You were watching them.
I've been driving a lot, and then like this past weekend, Friday night our plane was delayed like 2.5 hours, and they finally brought it in. We didn't get the Biloxi until 12:30 at night. Then the bus took us to the casino. I went up to my room. Like they give you the keys, give them a credit card for like $60 incidentals.
Right.
They paid for all my meals because I lost. You know they.
They're happy to have it.
Shit, I had filet mignons on Saturday night.
Who'd you go down with, Herb? Just you?
Huh?
Who did you go down with?
I just went myself. There was a couple friends of mine that was supposed to go, but
they couldn't make it.
They wound up. They couldn't do it because
that makes me sad, Herb.
Bring him in. I was trying to bring him in, but he wanted to take. It was this friend of mine that works at University of Pennsylvania Hospital.
Yeah.
And he wanted to take his mother, and she's like 80 years old, and give them a room They didn't, even though they're like signed up with like MGM and
All right.
Caesars and all that, but they're on the list. But they
Well, you
never
guys
got
could
involved.
you could have shared a room with his mom. You don't mind
They
going
could have
80
got
years old,
tonight.
right?
It was going to be. Listen, they wanted like 700 hours to add the mother on. They would let him stay in my room, but they wanted 700 for her. So he decided to forget about it. Don't get. They got to get the offer, the email. It's email offer.
Fascinating.
They got. Listeners, I met a guy that's a gambler. He goes on a lot of these trips. He's from like what do you call that? Not Brick, New Jersey.
I don't know.
What do they call that? It's like
in New Jersey. How about that?
Tom's River.
Gotcha.
He's going down the week the Eagles play the New Orleans Saints. He's going down on a Friday night. They're going flying down there. The trip. It's the same trip as what I just went on, and he was offered for the same trip for like September, and it's going to be until Tuesday.
All right.
So they're going to rent a car. Him and his buddy. They're going to rent a car, and they're going to drive New Orleans. It's only an hour and a half.
That's it.
So
That's not a bad drive at all. Now, Herb, people are asking if you were at the fight at Chickies and Pete's. I know nothing about this because I don't.
I don't know about any fight.
Tim is asking if you were at the fight. There was a fight at Chickies and Pete's last Friday. The fight broke out. Apparently, you were there before.
Last Friday, I was at the airport.
Oh, so you didn't hear about it?
Nah, I didn't even know about it. Nah,
I did not.
What happened?
Again, it's the first I'm hearing it. I haven't done a show this week, so I haven't heard about any fights at Chickies and Pete's. But it's not all that surprising that a fight could break out at Chickies and Pete's during the show.
Right.
Well, according to Tim, a waitress got knocked out. That's crazy.
You know, Askin ain't allowed to do nothing anymore. You hear about that?
So did you have any inside sources on that, Herb?
Yeah, I got a guy at the Wells Fargo, the security guy, told me that Askin is not allowed to go to any Phillies games.
Well, that's public, Herb. Yes.
He can't go to. He's
no Sixers games. Yep.
Already been told that he's not allowed to come to Camden. No Flyers games. And
I didn't hear that about the Flyers, but.
And the Sixers are saying that they want the Wells Fargo to decide if he's allowed to come to Sixers games.
Listen, Herb, what I've said about the situation is that I think it's a petty move by the 76ers, and if it makes them feel better by doing it because he's always busting their chops, so be it or whatever. But I wouldn't have. Yeah, like maybe they have more information than I do, but everything that I've heard and I know, whatever. All right, Herb. So you've been busy. You're driving for Wells Fargo, and you're now driving privately a lot of bachelor parties and things.
I'm working on the 13th and 14th at the Wells Fargo.
Okay.
The 13th, I got to take these executives around Philly. It's another drive thing or something. I just took, I forget, when was that?
Here we go.
Week before they went on a road trip, that I took the couple of girls from the Wells Fargo that have worked for the Flyers.
Where'd you take them?
Investors. There's some kind of investors that came to Philly the night. What was that last series that the Philly it was a Monday night or Tuesday night. I forget who they play. That last homestand.
Yeah, it doesn't really seem like it matters with the story, Herb.
No, I'm just saying that this. I drove these people. They're thinking about maybe what I told them that they can that stadium could be turned into a basketball arena right there. And I already talked to them about it.
You're trying to broker a stadium deal, Herb?
They're going to listen. The guy says to me, he's a big big executive.
Right.
He says to me, he says, we're going to put you on the payroll. I gave him the idea. I said, look, the Staples Center in L.A., I've been there. I told him. They have underground parking, and then they have parking at the top level. It's $100 a car.
Wow.
They charge. I said, you could have high-rise parking in the back, and then you could have a thing where they go maybe, I don't know how many, they dig up the ground, and you could have parking down there, maybe 10
All right,
12
we got you. So you're
floors.
speaking to the people trying to broker a deal. Some people actually have questions for you, Herb. Our audience has questions, including DJ Weed Pizza. He says, Herb, if you got some high rollers from out of town that wanted to meet some girls, where would you take them?
Well, Delilah's, I haven't been in Delilah's in a long time, but Delilah's usually years ago, I used to go in Delilah's.
So you take them to a strip club. If they wanted to go out and meet non-professionals and just wanted to meet some girls from next door, where would you take them? See, I don't know if Herb's really. How about Atlantic City?
You can go to Atlantic City. Ain't nothing wrong with Atlantic City.
Yeah, but you can meet some nice single gals. They'll do a weekend down there. Some New York girls come down.
That Ocean Club is beautiful.
Ocean's Casino is very nice. Yep. Very nice. All right, Herb. Do you ever drive? We know you drive old women around. Do you ever drive strippers around?
Years ago, I drove some strippers. I told you I drove that girl, the one that's connected with Ron Jeremy. The girl that was, I think it was
a lot of them connected to Ron Jeremy.
Sewing Trump. I think that was the girl, the one that was sewing Trump.
Stormy Daniels?
Yeah, she was. I think that was her that was in my car, in my limo.
Makes a better story if she was. Is it possible that is Donald Trump in your limo with Stormy Daniels? No,
never happened. But I had this hot broad. She was giving autographs. Jeremy was in the back, and the guy Ted, her boyfriend, Ted owns a whorehouse out there in Reno. He told me. I swear to God, yeah.
All right, so hold on. Let me get this straight. You had hold on. You had Ron Jeremy in the back of your limo with this adult star / stripper, and her boyfriend Ted, who owned a whorehouse in Reno, Nevada.
He's in the back. Ted knows me. Ted knows me. Jeremy knows me. I had them for like a whole week, dude. They were paying. I'll tell you who it was. It was called Merin Studios. MERIN. They were from LA. They were footing the bill. They were paying the bill. You know what I'm saying? Jeremy.
I know it.
I picked him up at the airport. He looked like he was wearing like sweatpants. It was crazy.
Yeah.
And but
now, Herb, have you ever visited his whorehouse?
With the girls, he told me, he says, when you come to LA, I'll hook you up with all these girls I got.
Oh, but you were just in LA. You didn't do it.
I was in LA a couple years ago.
I remember you were all over the place. You were at Staples.
I lost his number, but I could get a hold of him.
Gotcha. Now, Herb, have you ever visited one of these said houses, these whorehouses, as you called it?
Years ago, I was in a couple.
Was it the Bunny Ranch, or was it in Chinatown in Philadelphia?
The Bunny Ranch.
Oh. And what's that like? What do those ladies look like?
That was great. They drove us out in a limousine.
Well, that's when you were a high roller, right?
That's right.
Oh, man.
And then I had, you know what else I had?
What?
I had a place in Amsterdam.
Amsterdam?
Where you walked in, there was a bar. and you picked out the girls, whoever you wanted, they'd come and sit down with you. The guy was dressed in a tuxedo, big tall guy. I was in that place a few times.
So you went to Amsterdam in the red light district.
Man, the girls, ooh, they were unbelievable.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
So
You're talking about $400 or $500, bro.
That's it? Is that not a lot
That's
for?
it. And you stay with them for you can stay with them for a couple of hours, man. They
Wow,
take you up
poor
in a
people.
private room would fuck you like crazy.
Oh, all right, Herb. Herb, Tim wants to know if you're a fan of the Chinese massage parlors in Philly?
That was
Washi, as they call them?
yeah. I blew all my money down there, you know that.
I figured. Yeah, I figured. Well, Herb, see that you need to.
Guys still, Johnny Marks, there's guys, they're still doing it. They go to Eagles games, right?
Yeah, I know.
They get all drunk the hell up. They never go home, and they wind up at the geisha house.
The Washis are still in business for a reason. Yes, sir.
Listen,
Definitely. Guys like you.
It was a place called the Oriental Paradise, right there, like 21st and Chester. That was in business for a long time. I knew one of the girls.
Yeah.
She was from New York. She had me pick her up a couple times from the train station. She took care of me all the time.
Oh.
She was beautiful, man. And then there was a few other ones. There was a place where some of the kids that I knew that I played baseball with that were on my team for the Pendel League. One day I'm down there. They were over there, 15th and Calla Hill, right on the corner. It's a bar, and the second floor was a geisha house. And
so you saw teammates from your Pendel baseball team.
Yeah, I walked in and he's sitting there in the lobby. It's like sofas in the lobby and shit. He couldn't believe it.
So Herb, people are asking exactly what was on the menu when you went to some of these places. Was it just a happy ending, or was there more things that you could do?
Happy ending, whatever you want. You know what I mean? They let you do it. You know.
Well, I
always had the best one around.
Yeah. So when they knew you were coming, they're like, "Oh no, no, he's mine today."
I think there's a few of them still open down there on Bay Street.
Yeah, in Chinatown, sure.
Right across from the convention center.
I'm sure there's more than just Chinatown that are down there, Herb. But listen, I thought we'd be talking about USA basketball today. We're talking about the Washis with Herb from Northeast Philly. Well, Herb, listen, you said you wanted to take a nap. And I want to let you get a little shut eye because you're going to be you've worked a long day. What else is going on with you? How is your health?
In the rain, I've been driving in the rain all day.
Yeah, it's been a shitty day. How's your health?
I'm going to Brazil in 3 weeks, dude.
So you are. I know you've been talking about that on WIP. I hear a lot of reports from you talking about it. You bought a bathing suit. You paid like $350 for a bathing suit. Is that correct?
Well, Bella Quinn paid $350, but they do charge that much. I think I paid $150, $200 for one of them. I got two of them that are. The one is big on me now because I lost all this weight, and the other one that I just bought last year or so, it's got all different colors and squares. It's called the Passport.
Yeah.
Passport bathing suit.
I typically, Herb, I search on I do a lot of shopping on the Blooming.
Go look. It's called Bella Quinn.
No, I don't pay. I go to Bloomingdale's app. A lot of times on the Bloomingdale's app, they have really, really good like deals for stuff they can't get rid of. So you'll get expensive label stuff. It's just like for whatever reason people don't want it. So occasionally I'll get some bathing suits on there, but there was I run into
what size waist do you wear? 36?
No, 32 is probably big on me at this point.
32?
Yeah, Herb, I work out. Yes.
Man.
No, but here's the problem with the bathing suits these days. is that I grew up in a generation where you wore shorts past your knee or at your knee. These new bathing suits that they put out right now, it's hard to find one that even reaches your knee. There's thigh meat and all these. I'm like, oh, that's a nice bathing suit. And then I look at the size. I'm like, hang on a second, thigh meat. Like I don't want my balls hanging out of my bathing suit. Herb, now you're going to Brazil, so I don't know if you're wearing a Speedo.
No, I don't wear no Speedos. The first one that I bought it in L.A.
Huh.
I guess probably, I would say maybe I bought it at least 10 years ago, and it was like a turquoise blue, a navy blue.
Huh.
It had turtles, some pictures of turtles on there, and some other stuff.
Gotcha.
And it's cool. It's cool. I wore it from Mississippi this past weekend.
So do you wear with your bathing suit? Do you have a shirt that you wear as well on top, like almost like a surfer would wear, along with the bathing suit?
Yeah, you mean a tank top?
Well, no, like Curly from the Three Stooges.
T-shirt. I just wear a T-shirt. You know
okay. Yeah, because Curly when he has the bathing suit on, also has the top. That's what I was thinking with you. Like I didn't know if you were wearing it.
Three Stooges? What are you talking about?
Yeah. I love the Three Stooges, sir. It's one of my favorites. You know what I've been watching? I went through because everybody always talks about like, oh, you gotta watch this show on Hulu or this show on it's so great and blah, blah, blah. So I started going back and watching shows that I liked from when I was a kid or I was younger, and I started watching Cheers. From the first episode, it's on one of the stations, so I just DVR it, and I just got through the first full season. It's 22 episodes of Cheers. And this is 1985, I think, was the year. And it is so good. Herb, it is so good. It's so much better than anything they put out there right now. I laugh out loud at every episode. It is amazing.
Yeah.
So, and Three Stooges are great, too.
I enjoyed the Three Stooges. Years ago when we were down Wildwood, when I was working with my friend Pete from Warrenton, and we were, when I worked at the Oasis restaurant.
Oh,
we used to get home 3-4 o'clock in the morning. But
what'd you do at the Oasis?
I used to cook. I was a short order cook.
Oh,
at night, fried chicken, hot dogs, chili dogs, hamburgers, cheeseburgers.
I could see you. I was a short order cook as well for many years.
Steaks. Yeah, right across from the Admiral Hotel.
All right. So, Herbert, the expectations of Brazil, first of all, are you going by yourself? Are you going down by yourself?
Yeah, I'm going by myself.
You're not going with any of the fan groups, like fans of Philly do the trips?
No,
so you. All right.
Listen, they're charging a lot of money for what they're doing.
So you got it cheaper?
My friend Major League Vacations, Al Cataline, they ran the trip, but he decided that because the tickets are so expensive, he only got 4 people to go.
Yeah.
And I'm waiting for him this week or next week to let me know. He's supposed to get me my own, like a van or something or whatever they got, a car to take me from my hotel to the game and then bring me back.
What about a moped? You can go around. No.
They have a train. The game's at night though. It's like it's 9:15 your time, but I think it's 7:15 in Brazil.
That's the difference. Well, listen, Herb, just be careful. A lot of people on the chat here are worried about you. Just be careful. We don't need you getting dumped into some polluted river.
Don't get in trouble. I know.
No, I don't think you're going to get in trouble. I'm just saying, you're very friendly with people, and you generally like to talk to everybody. So just don't befriend some Brazilian that's going to cut you, take your spleen or something.
I got you.
You know what I mean? All right. Well, that is it's very exciting, Herb. Very exciting. In fact, I would like to have at some point when I get started in what I'm doing, which I can't announce yet, I would like to set up a Herb from Northeast Philly appreciation night at Chickens and Pizza in North Philly, and get you out there and get the people out there and just have a hell of a night. Maybe it's a night where the Eagles play, right? And we'll get you there, get you paid a little bit, get you signing autographs, signing boobs and things like that. The women.
As long as I don't have to work, do it on a night when I don't have to work with the.
I'll work with your. I'll call your people. Yes.
I'm working double shifts, man. You know.
Yeah, you're a hard worker.
Crazy.
All right.
It's crazy. Man.
But is your health good? I asked you about this before.
Yeah, I feel fine. I feel.
You've been to the doctor and everything.
Been to the doctor and all that.
All right.
And I'm actually thinking I spoke to my surgeon. Yeah. And he's down in Fort Myers. He wants me to come visit him. So I might take him up, like.
Your surgeon wants to, does he want you to visit him, like, do you have an appointment, or are you guys buddies?
We're like sort of like buddies, but you know, like I owe him dinner. I promised to take him out one night for steak dinner, you know.
Right.
So we're gonna do it in Fort Myers one night.
Well, Herb, listen, you are I appreciate you because you love to travel.
Saved my life.
He certainly did, but you also like you don't just sit around and talk and watch. No, you're out there traveling. You're in Los Angeles. You're in Mississippi. You're going to be going to Brazil in a couple of weeks. You're still living a good life, Herb.
Yeah, and I'm planning next year to go either back to Europe and Spain and all that, or I might take a trip to Tokyo because I want to go see that baseball Tokyo Giants.
Tokyo.
And Shanghai, China. Yeah, I want to go.
I could see you there. I can actually see you coming back with like a 32-year-old Japanese woman because you convinced her that you actually had money and stuff.
If I can make it through a 10-hour flight to Brazil, I can make it through a 16-hour flight to Asia.
So where do you fly out of Philly, or do you have to go up to New York?
Oh, if you want, I would go out of
Brazil. Where you're flying out of?
I'm flying out of Philly. Yeah.
Out of Philly?
Philly to Atlanta. I'm flying on Delta, and then Atlanta right to San Paulo.
Yeah, Delta still owes me, Herb. I'll tell you what. I'm flying back from spring training 2 years ago. We had first class tickets, and we got totally screwed because we were delayed. Then I had to spend the night in the hotel, in the airport, and I got COVID. Like 2 days later, I had COVID. So they still owe me because I was supposed to fly first class, and then I got screwed and couldn't fly first class. So fuck them.
You bought first class tickets?
No, the station did. They upgraded us because we were getting really screwed with the flight. We weren't flying direct from Tampa. We had to go through Atlanta.
Your name, I think, came up today or yesterday. Your name came up.
Well, it should be coming up, Herb.
You know?
Yeah. I should be coming up. Yeah. So the show is still very near and dear to my heart. Jack and Ike and Spike, all my buddies.
Right.
I'm still waiting to see. The WIP doesn't release ratings like they once did, for whatever reason. So I'm still waiting to see. I'm still interested to see what the ratings are in Philadelphia. But yes, I hope to see those guys soon. I was actually going to try to. I went to a Phillies game 2 Fridays ago now, Herb. And if it didn't take friggin' 2 hours to get up from Collegeville down to the goddamn game, I was going to stop in and say hi. But it literally took 2 fucking hours to get down to the game.
Early, man.
Yeah, but so my wife didn't get off work until 4, so we couldn't leave until right when she got off work. And then there was an accident, and we had to take 476, and then everybody else took 476.
What kind of work she doing? What kind of work's your wife doing?
Well, she's on OnlyFans. So if you want to try, no, I'm just kidding. She works for she is a project manager for a medical company. So she works. She's not necessarily in medicine, but she has a medical background, and she does. Now I couldn't do what she does. She's very intelligent in the stuff that she does. She does a very good job at it. So there you go. So you were.
I just had today.
Huh?
Buy your kids some of this. It's called Quaker Rice Thins Salted Caramel. Salted caramel. It's delicious, man. They're those chips, but they're really good. I ate the whole bag.
Wow.
It's milk.
So did you eat dinner tonight?
I had like a shorty hoagie.
So you went hoagie? Turkey?
Yeah, the Wawa. That's where I'm sitting at right now, at the Wawa in Burlington, right next to the Turnpike, 130 North. So I
well,
worked. I worked last night, yo.
yeah,
I had a concert last night. I worked driving a limo
yeah.
for these guys, and I picked up two. It was four kids, two girls, two guys. They went to that Brian concert.
Oh yeah, everybody was there. But Bruce Springsteen came
Yeah,
out last night
you
and was
should have
singing a
seen
song
the
with him.
girls, man. Oh, the lot of young girls, man. I just kept looking at them, like whoa. And you can't really say too much, but they knew I was checking them out. And these guys, they had a couple really nice looking girls in there, in the limo.
Oh, dude, Herb, there is no better there's no better crowd than a country crowd, especially
I
last night.
took
Believe me.
yeah, I took them down to South Street after the concert, and then the other two wanted to go home. They live over on 11th Street,
Yeah.
and took them home, and then that was it. And they said, "Oh, you can go." They had it till 2:30, but they only used it till
Yeah.
I guess it was 1:30.
Oh, there you go. Well, listen, Herb, it was great catching up with you. I know everybody is always asking whenever I'm on here, like, "Where's Herb? Where's Herb?" And it's like it's gotta work out. It's normally when you're working and you got some time to kill because you're a very busy man, and I understand that.
Answer the phone. I want to come up and see you up in town.
Well, you were in Spring City. I live right by Spring City.
Yeah, I know.
So, by the way, a lot of people asking about your book and when you're going to be getting that published because people want autographed copies.
I'm still trying to get things done with that book. It's
A lot of work, man.
Time, I'm in no hurry.
Well, listen. Just make sure that you're taking notes when you're in Brazil, because I'm sure there's a couple stories that you can use in the book.
South Wall Street. You know where in Spring City is? South Wall Street, new homes back there.
Yeah.
That's where I was. Yeah.
All right. Well, listen. You be safe out there in the rain tonight, and we'll talk to you soon. All right. All right, Herb. Take a little nap and be well. All right. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, take it easy.
All right, there he is. That's Herb from Northeast Philly. Be safe out there, Herb. God bless you. Well, now I got to get rid of that. Thank you. Actually, I have people chiming in and asking me, like, how are you taking callers on the show? That's a good question. Let me get rid of this first. I do this through my Mac. It's a program called StreamYard, which is excellent. So it puts it on YouTube, it puts it on Twitter. It puts it out on Instagram Live, but Instagram Live sucks, so I just don't do it. I just keep it on these two. But yeah, so I can, if someone like Herb was calling me, so I just called him back on the phone and it worked. So there you go. All right, let me see what I had written down what I wanted to talk about here. But thank you to Herb. Good to talk to Herb. All right, excuse me. Brandon Aiyuk. Looks like he's going to the Steelers. Andrew Filipponi, who does afternoons out there on the Odyssey station in Pittsburgh, and he's kind of like the big shit out there. He's awesome. I think he's great. He's had it that the Steelers are getting him. It's a matter of them now working out the terms. The 49ers wisely are saying like, nah, we're not done with the deal yet. They're trying to get the most. They're trying to maximize the return for the player, which I can't argue with. It seems like Aiyuk is going to, like, the contract terms are there. He wants to play in Pittsburgh. He did not want to play in New England. Don't blame him. They're not ready to win right now. Pittsburgh's a great organization. I think he would play in Cleveland, but it seems like that he wants to play in Pittsburgh, and I would love for him to go to Pittsburgh. I think it's a great spot. Because, like the Steelers are, when the Steelers are good, that's great for the NFL. I like Mike Tomlin. If I was a Steeler fan for this many years, I don't know how much I'd like Mike Tomlin. Been a while since they've won a title, but you can't argue with what he's done. So I would love to see him go to Pittsburgh. I think he's going to the Steelers, but right now the 49ers are holding out. So, like, pretty much the insiders are saying, like, yeah, they're still talking. Diana Rossini, I think, tonight put out that they're talking, but there's no done deal. So why would the 49ers rush it unless they feel like they're getting, you know, what they can get? Now, maybe the Steelers could add something else to it, but I expect Brandon Aiyuk to be with the Steelers. So, which I was thinking about this, right? What the Eagles have done, they sign AJ Brown, they sign Devontae Smith. Pretty much everybody on the team's making a lot of money. So when you say that, all right, well, you can't pay everybody, and if you're paying Deebo Samuel, then how can you pay Brandon Aiyuk? First of all, I would rather have Brandon Aiyuk than Deebo Samuel. Deebo's a good player, but he's also a different player than Brandon Aiyuk. Now, maybe the 49ers have confidence that they can draft a wide receiver because there's never been a better time to be a wide receiver in the NFL. There's a lot of them. You can get them in the first round, the second round. Unless you're totally dumb, which the Eagles for a while were, the Patriots are another team that were, you should be able to draft a wide receiver as opposed to giving them $30 million a year. Steelers wisely are going to try to grab Aiyuk. But, like, the 49ers could sign Aiyuk. They could just give him $30 million a year. I know they're paying McCaffrey and they're paying this guy. Everybody's paying everybody. All right? So it's not like the Eagles haven't just paid everybody. But for whatever reason, they don't want to pay him. Maybe that'll end up being correct. But to me, I'd be mad as shit if I was a 49er fan because they're right there. We know that. He's their best wide receiver. Not their most explosive player, necessarily. He's their best wide receiver, and I don't even think it's close. So, like, you remove him, even if you're adding, I don't know if they're trying to get George Pickens back from the Steelers. They're certainly draft capital, and they want a wide receiver that can play right now, which is great, and that's why the Cleveland deal makes sense because they could get Amari Cooper. But Aiyuk has to agree to a contract. If he says, yeah, I'm negotiating with the Browns, it limits the leverage that the 49ers have. So now they're trying to kneel on the Steelers because the Steelers really want him, as they should. But you get George Pickens back. He's been kind of a malcontent. He's talented. There's a reason why he slipped to the second round. It's not because of the talent. But at least gives them elite wide receiver talent. I think that'd be a good trade for San Francisco. They could just pay him. They're not going to. CeeDee Lamb, Jerry Jones. CeeDee Lamb not reporting to camp. He's going to be on a fifth-year option, making good money for that, but he wants a long-term contract. Jerry Jones said today that he's not feeling the urgency to sign CeeDee Lamb. Could you freaking imagine if this was happening in Philadelphia with A.J. Brown, with Devontae Smith? Devontae Smith is in the same situation as CeeDee Lamb, except Devontae Smith isn't as good as CeeDee Lamb. Sorry. He's just not. He's good. CeeDee Lamb is, I would say, on par with A.J. Brown, different receivers, but on par with them. Could you imagine if the Eagles were playing hardball with Devontae Smith? Could you imagine if A.J. Brown was like, hey, man, I need a new contract. I need more guaranteed money. This ain't going to work. And the Eagles were like, fuck you. That's essentially what they're doing. Jerry Jones feels no urgency to complete a deal with CeeDee Lamb. Dak Prescott says, I feel urgency for CeeDee Lamb's deal to get done. Dak Prescott's not signed, by the way. Micah Parsons isn't signed long-term, by the way. And CeeDee Lamb laughs off the comments from Jerry Jones. He tweeted out LOL to that. All I'm telling you is that this is a disaster, and thank God, because the Eagles, if the Cowboys actually had somebody that knew what the hell they were doing, and it wasn't about Jerry Jones or the ego or whatever, then they might actually be in trouble. But their quarterback's in the final year of a contract. Their star wide receiver, and CeeDee Lamb's one of the best wide receivers in football. He's in the final year of a contract without a new deal. And Micah Parsons is going to be pissed as hell if they don't sign him. And the longer they wait, the more money they have to pay him. Unless they're going to let Dak Prescott leave. So, all good news. All good news. All right, what do we got here? What else? USA basketball. So they had to come back. I think they were down 15 I was actually in the car coming back from somewhere, I don't know, the grocery store, and it was like USA's losing to Serbia. They were down 17. It's unbelievable. They were down 17 points. They come back. So I got home for like the last, I don't know, 7 minutes of the game. So US made a run. I think they took the lead with like 2 minutes to go in the game. But so Jokic gets a layup and it puts him down by 2 points. And there's 20, how many, like 20 some seconds left. You could, like, they'd be able to dribble the clock out. So you needed to foul them pretty much right away. So there was no doubt they score, they get the 2, and now they're down by 2 points. And so you foul them right away. You're extending the game. Every time they touch the ball, you foul them. You hope they miss a foul shot. And you could shoot a 3 or whatever. I mean, this is basic elementary basketball. And Serbia doesn't foul. I get trying to get a steal and trying to get the ball back without doing it. But, like, when that doesn't happen right away, you got to foul right away. The chances of you stealing the ball are minuscule compared to exactly. You need to stop the clock. The odds of them missing a foul shot, USA missing a foul shot, is decent. Even if they don't, now USA's up 4. Serbia goes down. They shoot a 2, they shoot a 3, and you're right back in the situation. There's like 15 seconds left to go in the game. They waited until 8 seconds left. And then Steph Curry ices it. He hits both foul shots. So they foul the best foul shooter on the team for the most part. And it puts USA up by 4, and the game's over. So that was a tight one today, man. Like, talk about a survival. Like, that was straight up survival. It was tough. So I know some people out there were rooting for them to lose. I was not because I'm patriotic or anything like that. I mean, I am, but we don't need to lose to Serbia. I don't need chaos. Sometimes I can be a fan of chaos. I don't need chaos when it comes to the Olympics and USA basketball. No, thank you. Mike Missinelli starts next week. He actually just texted me a little while ago, but when I was on the air. But Mike Missinelli starts next week with Bill Colarulo, middays on 97.5 The Fanatic. He is back. I talked about it extensively last week, and I'm looking forward to the show, to hear what the show sounds like. I love Bill. I think Mike is, for my money, and I know Angelo probably had the most success, but for my money, Mike has been the best sports radio host of, really since sports radio started some 30 years ago, whatever. So I'm looking forward to hearing the show. With that being said, I do like Joe and Hugh. This really isn't, I put out a post congratulating them and saying I'm excited to hear the new show. When I'm in the car middays, like, I'm mostly in the car between 10 and 2. Very rarely these days, although today I was, but like normally when I'm in the car between 10 and 2. I'm in the car middays. And I would actually go over to Bob Cooney. I like Bob Cooney too. But I think Hugh's hilarious, and I love Joe Giglio. I think he's really good. So this isn't me being like, yeah, hey Giglio. No, like this is gonna be a really competitive day part. And it's the first one really in a long time since really Mike and Marks and Reese show were kind of going back and forth, and we'd win one and he'd win one and we'd win a couple and he'd win a couple, and then we took over after that. But there has not been no competition. Mike has been the only day part on the Fanatic that has ever won a book. And when I say a book, I'm talking about 3 months. So you have the winter book, which is January, February, March. You have the spring book, April, May, June. So the spring book's already out there, but there's no ratings to be found because WIP stopped sharing ratings with the trade website that normally puts it out. And Crossing Broad normally puts the ratings out too. And they haven't had ratings out. So there's been no ratings that have been published. They did the same thing with the winter book. So there is a new ratings book that's out there right now. And then we're 1 month into the summer book, which is July, August, September. And then you have the fall book, which matters the most. But anyway, I think this is going to be a really, really competitive day part because Mike is Mike. Bill Colarulo is excellent. And I think Joe and Hugh are really good. Hugh's hilarious. I love his football insights. And Joe Giglio, to me, is a very, very good talk talk show host. I like Joe a lot. He's very talented. So this is a great. I mean, it really is. It's a solid, really good day part that's going to have your first kind of battle for the ratings. I'll be curious to see where it goes with all that. So I'll be tuned in next week to hear what Mike sounds like. I'm glad that he's back. I told him when I went on this podcast that that I didn't like how it ended, and I felt like his audience deserved better than him just being like, all right, I'm done in 2 hours. I didn't blame him for it because it's a difficult spot. I was given a choice of what to do, and in hindsight, I don't know, man. Like, I wish I just would have been like, yeah, today's my last day. I'm done. I don't know. It's like, it's not easy to do no matter how you do it. But anyway, I'm looking forward to it next week. All right. So I have to look right here. We'll end it with this. So, Aubrey Ray, who is a local girl up here in the Collegeville area, and she's like a really, really talented country singer. And she's down in Nashville a lot or whatever. I got to pull up my Instagram story here. And if you don't follow me on Instagram, what are you thinking? At John Marks Media. And by the way, subscribe here, comment. Feels like when I say comment and like, a lot of people comment and like on the shows. So comment and like. But she's down in Ocean City, New Jersey. And she posted, and she's at a Core Brothers. And I love Core Brothers. When I was in Ocean City a couple weeks ago, we probably ate Core Brothers like 4 times. So she's holding a cup. And she says, Jimmies or sprinkles. And it is something that any Philadelphian that has lived here probably can relate to. Because for me, I'm Jimmies. It's always been Jimmies to me. It's really, I guess, what your parents say. Right? For me, it was Rainbow Jimmies, chocolate Jimmies. I got a couple messages of people saying it's chocolate Jimmies, rainbow sprinkles. And I said, you know what? That kind of makes sense. It makes more sense calling rainbow sprinkles and chocolate Jimmies, but I call everything Jimmies. So when I'm down the shore and I'm asking them they want Jimmies, I have a couple people in the family being like, what's Jimmies? Like my brother-in-law's fiance is from the West Coast, so when I say Jimmies, she's like looking at me like, what are you talking about? Like sprinkles. We call them Jimmies. So I put up a poll, and you can get this on my Instagram story right now, and we have a number of voters. 64% say Jimmies. 64%. Now, I don't know what the chat has to say here, but I was expecting a lot of people to be like, yeah, it's Jimmies. That's such a stupid, old school Philadelphia term. It's like calling a creek a crick. And I get it. My parents say crick. So Kevin says the same thing. Jimmies are chocolate, sprinkles aren't. I'm willing to say that that's fine with me. If you say rainbow sprinkles, it makes more sense. Chocolate Jimmies makes sense. Rainbow Jimmies, I can still say, but I can understand it. I can. It makes sense. All right. But there were a lot of people and a lot of wild opinions that were out there. I was just surprised there was as much Jimmy support as there was. Oh, by the way, Nick Foles retired today. Is that like burying a lead? Or is it that I just thought he was already retired? But he officially retired. He said he's going to retire as an Eagle, which is awesome. But being selfish, not even thinking about the Super Bowl, when you have Nick Foles tattooed on your back and it almost costs you your marriage, then that's typically where I go with it. And that's what I did. Yep, that's what I did. So he'll always be a special part of me because he's on my back. I told my kids today, I'm like, oh, the guy that's on my, because Nick Foles won the Super Bowl. My daughter was 2 years old and no years old when they won the Super Bowl. So when I say Nick Foles, they know who Bryce Harper is. They know who Nick Castellanos is. But like Nick Foles, they're like, oh, the guy on your back. Like, yeah, the guy on my back. So I'm like, yeah, the guy on my back retired. They're like, what does that mean? I'm like, well, he's not playing football anymore. They're like, okay. Like, oh, but it's me. So yeah, Nick Foles retired. Just and he put out the video or whatever. I saw Crossing Broad. I guess on the Crossing broadcast today they had, who was it they had on? One of the former tight ends. I forget who it is. Let me see if it's quick right here. But they put one of the guys on there that played with him. Was it I know was. Someone in the chat probably knows. Kevin probably knows. But anyway, told a story about how, about that when he got traded from Cleveland, he came in and he played at University of Texas. And he came in and he just kind of asked Nick Foles, he's like, hey, he's like, looking for somewhere to live. Because a lot of times what happens is these guys, like, one of the guys will get, and a lot of them live down by the stadium, so they'll live in the townhouses that are kind of like right next to NovaCare. They're, for the most part, new construction. So you have, like modern or whatever, but, and they're nice places. So a lot of times these guys, like a new guy will come in and be like, hey, like, you're looking for a roommate. And then like, yeah, I'm looking for a roommate. So you get a single guy that's already living in one of these houses. So like, whatever. So he's asking around like, hey, where can I live? And Nick's like, come live with me. And so I guess he went and lived with him when he first started. And then he was talking about how his mom had him come over for Thanksgiving and all this other stuff. So the thing you always heard about Nick Foles, and in particular when Carson was there, and I think it helped create the divide in the locker room because Carson was, I don't want to say standoffish, but he just didn't have the social skills like Nick did. Nick was always a guy that players felt like they could go to. Think about if you're a church person, and I'm not, but think about a pastor as opposed to, I'm not trying to rip a priest, but you know what I mean. Very approachable, the pastor, as opposed to the priest, which is like a priest. And Nick was always very approachable. And everybody that I ever talked to always talked about Nick in that way of just being like, oh man, like the best guy ever. So, and obviously he won a Super Bowl. So the question is, do they retire his number? And that is the easiest answer in the history of the world. Of course they should. They won't, but they should. If Donovan's number wasn't retired, I could see them being like, well, if we retire Nick's number, then Donovan's going to be all mad. Like, no, they need to, like, his number's already retired. If they're going to friggin' Donovan McNabb retire his number, like, come on, give me a break. Retire Nick Foles' number. Absolutely, positively. So, there you go. And it was just that someone just sent me a message on here on Instagram at John Marks Media, and it was a picture. Everybody has the picture of Nick Foles, just like I did. I'm like, oh, Nick Foles retiring. Let me take a picture of let me show my back, and say like, hey, Nick Foles retired. But there's so many people out there that have pictures from Nick, from going to autograph signings or whatever, and getting the picture with Nick. So happy for him. Not necessarily a textbook NFL career, if you know what I mean. I don't want to say similar to Eli Manning, but kind of complicated like Eli Manning, right? Eli Manning, if you look at he's under 500 quarterback, he has 2 Super Bowl MVPs, which will get him in the Hall of Fame probably. Nick Foles didn't go in the Hall of Fame, but he was a Pro Bowler, had one of the best individual Eagles seasons ever as a quarterback, and then he came back and wins the Super Bowl MVP. It's unbelievable. Oh, and I totally agree with you, DJ Weed Pizza. No one should ever wear 9 again. Ever. So if you're going to do the official, because that's what they do with Randall, they don't give out the 12, which is like cool because you don't want to, like, you're going to retire Randall's number. He won 1 playoff game. It's tough to, it's tough to retire his number with that. But I guess it's like the unofficial retirement is kind of like a hat tip, being like, hey, we're not going to retire your number, but we're not going to give it out either. All right. Well, that's it. Everybody feel all right about the Phillies out there? I for the first time was starting to not freak out, but be like, yeah, I don't know. Like, probably played their best baseball of the season. And I still kind of believe that, but it was good to get a win last night. Phil's Diamondbacks right now, top 4. Phil's with the bases loaded with 1 out. And Mundo Sosa getting the start again tonight. And there you go. Yep. 0-0 top of the 4th. What's the excuse with Harold Carmichael? Did they not? Was that just Hall of Fame? They didn't retire his number? I didn't know if they retired it after he got in the Hall of Fame. I guess they didn't, right? Because it's been given out. Yeah, like Harold is first of all one of the nicest guys ever, and unfortunately with football, anybody that played before the modern era isn't going to get those same kind of looks and that same kind of respect. Same thing with quarterbacks. Quarterbacks used to throw for 58, 59% completion percentage, and they'd be like, wow, that's awesome. Anymore, if you don't throw 66, 67, you kind of suck. So Harold played during a different generation, a non-passing generation, and he was a great player. He was only had over 1,000 yards 3 times. He didn't play in a lot of 16, or he played in a lot of 14 game seasons, and it wasn't a passing league. So, yep, they should definitely retire his number. John Marks returning to the Fanatic or radio, please. Well, unfortunately, or fortunately for me, that is not going to happen. I will not be coming back to the radio. Certainly not right now. I will say this, that with the Fanatic, I did talk to them, and there was interest. And if they would have said, hey, let's go, let's build your show, I'd be working there right now. But they did not, because a lot of times in this business, it comes down to timing, etc. And, there was some mutual interest, but what they wanted to do and what I wanted to do was not, it's not going to happen. So, it is what it is, because I'm excited for what's coming up in the future. How about that? All right, everybody, let me get my my exit music going on here. Delco Steve will be back at some point. We actually saw, if you follow him on Instagram with his stories that he has going on, he's shown a couple pictures of his girlfriend. Yeah. Getting comfortable enough for having to go public. Sure, it's her that didn't want to go public. But here we go. Even though she's a sports radio listener. Why is this not fucking playing? Oh, I gotta put this on. All right, there it is. There it is. All right, everybody have a good weekend. Yeah, I don't even know what I have going on this weekend. The rain sucked. But have a safe weekend, and I will talk to everybody next week. Steve's not in the country. He's in Italy right now. And she may give Delco Steve a ring. The reverse engagement. All right, everybody. See ya.